Yo, what's up, everybody? Look, I ain't made a video in a hot minute. Look, I thought I would come on here and just start talking about this John Wick 3. Look, I stopped on the series probably around John Wick 2. Was like, all right, it's what it is. It's like this guy's gonna be invincible. He's got God mode on, so on and so forth, right? But let me say it like this: I'm giving this whole movie, and I do my own little set of reviews on the side. Like I used to be a movie critic like crazy back in the day. So I don't watch movies as much. I'm too much into all of these little mini podcasts on health and things like that, probably because it affects me. But I watched movies again and I'm looking at John Wick 3. And so I'm going to give it, and I always go according to kind of like my own personal out of ranking out of 1 out of 10, and I think about IMDB. Most of the time, my reviews are going to match up with an IMDB type of review. So whenever I'm looking for films or movies or things that I think might be interesting, I try to find things that are going to be within that range of acceptance. And then I give my 2 cents. And it's usually within a little small degree. I would say about about 0.4 degrees difference between what IMDb has. And a lot of times I've been giving these things like lower points, but what have you. I think like on one film for sure, it was Gran Turismo, the movie that came out. I thought that movie was great. I was ecstatic. I enjoyed it. And I would probably say I would give it the IMDb review. It was like a 7.2 average. I would give it that. So, anywho, let's get into John Wick 3. I'm giving it a 7.2. And honestly, that's the only reason why I'm making this video because it didn't make any kind of sense to me. It was so ridiculous of a film. I hate to say, I'm talking shit about something, I'm giving a 7.2. You're like, well, how can you give it such a high review? Because 7 is like a damn good movie. Like, you wouldn't say that's a good movie. But I gotta give it the credit that it warrants. I mean, that's the only thing I can think of, right? So, all right, let me jump into this. What I was thinking about when I was watching this movie, and I didn't make any highlights, I didn't make any points to this, so please forgive me for the sloppiness of what I'm delivering here. But is this right after I've watched the movie? So I just watched 3 for the first time. I know that in March of 2023, the fourth one dropped, so the number 4 has been out for a hot minute. I thought it would be kind of worth it to watch after I watched this one. But then I looked at the reviews and it's only a 7, which I was kind of like, it's on the edge. Like, I'll watch it. I will still watch it. But I know that I got a degree of annoyance that is going to be there like it was in this one. I had stopped this film probably like 3 or 4 freaking times. And probably more than that, probably 5 or 6. Not because I was busy. I was busy with some stuff. Okay, just saying. I was busy with food or something else, working on doing some abs or whatever. But then I was also like, I had to stop it just to go, what the, did they do this there? Oh, wait a minute, did they just do that shit? Oh, the shit was hot. So I had to say there was some highlights to what I looked at. And so one of the scenes, I'm going to start like with this. I'm going to try to go from piece by piece. So if there's spoilers, I'm sorry. You got to watch the movie before you look at this. Now you've been warned. But if I go from beginning through, let's see, beginning scenes that kind of triggered me throughout the whole film, and then I can kind of give you an assessment on why I'm giving it the review that I'm giving it, and not some like low trash ass review score. Hopefully you'll understand and how my line of thinking goes. First of all, watching this film, I knew coming in I'm dealing with some John Wick bullshit. If you don't know that's what you're dealing with when you watch these type of films, don't watch them. Because if you come in trying to analyze every single thing to this degree or that degree, you need to approach it kind of like you would in an Expendables movie, right? Okay. And I haven't even seen all of them because they kind of turn me off with this kind of material. But I keep hearing people say that Expendables is great. Like that whole series is like a really good saga to watch. So I think I may have watched the first one. I can't remember anything from it to tell you that I like the Expendables. But I like Sylvester Stallone. I like Arnold. So there's aspects to that that I would definitely want to watch. But I've seen them in other films. Like there was a real like cheesy type rundown version with them two in it. I think they were like they were both inmates. And see, I can remember that, but I enjoyed it. I'm sorry, I was a fan of that one. I think it got like a 6.2 or something. But I enjoyed it. See, 6.2 can still be enjoyable. It's like the good old guys got back in there, and I always enjoy seeing those guys in a film together. It's kind of like Al Pacino and Robert De Niro. You love seeing those two together in a film. But I will say, they had the last one that came out. I think it was the Irish. Somebody forgive me for what, I don't remember what it was called, but I think it was like the Irish something. I don't remember what it was. But in that film, I don't think it got delivered very well. Like Robert De Niro, he seemed way too old. Here's Robert De Niro for me. Old Robert De Niro, he had the grit, the grind, the passion. He had more of the innate passion, desire to play the role that he was put in. Same with Al Pacino. I like both of them for the older type scenes. The older scenes that they were in, the older movies that they were epic. Like in the movie Heat, ooh, it's iconic. I can watch that over and over and over. Godfather, yes, I want to go back and watch it now. I mean, there's things in these films that I really enjoy. It's the authenticity, the originality. It's something that comes through that I really appreciate watching. But when I look forward and I fast forward to, let's say this Irish game or whatever the heck it's called, it did not, I want to call it Irish Cocktail. It did not cross the level for me. Like it just seemed like, oh, we got them in the film again, guys, and then they ran a couple little different scenarios that would be more mafia related type, and it seems interesting. And I guess it was based on a true story, but they tried to come from all those kind of angles, and I did not feel the actors like they were. And sometimes whenever you see these movies, they like to keep character portrayals a little slightly different. Like, how can I explain this? They don't want the actor to be who they were as a character from one film to the next. So let's say you got Al Pacino in Carlito's Way, and God bless, what a phenomenal film, but that's not going to match up too much with something like Scarface. However, there is a grit that Al Pacino carries in those two films. And the same with him in Devil's Advocate. So that is what you want when you see Al Pacino. You don't want to skip those in these films. This might be a longer film. A longer video when I'm making right now. I apologize, but look, I got to get it out. Because if you're a movie fan and you're watching this type of genre, action movies, you'll resonate with what I'm saying. So you've got this kind of transfer that of a character that you like, yeah, I want to see that. Oh man, he was awesome. Al Pacino. There was another one called, gosh, I'm trying to think of what it was. It's like the devil something. I forget what it's called, but it's like a voodoo type film, and it's got Robert De Niro in there as like the main undertone kind of character. I'm trying to think like who else was the main actor, but I know Robert De Niro was like, I think he plays the devil in that. I hate to spoil that one for you, but good Lord, was it phenomenal. Because it kept the right tone of the character, of the actor that you're seeing throughout these films. Anyway, the Irish Game, whatever it is, I hate to say it, I would not give it anywhere close to what it got for a review score. I would put it right in the 6.2. I would put my Sylvester Stallone and Arnold movie above that one. I thought it was more enjoyable. Now, let's get on to John Wick. Gosh, if I edit that last part out, it's for this reason alone, because I want to talk about John Wick, right? So you know what you're getting into when you watch a John Wick film. John Wick is a bunch of bullshit scenes. He's doing all this shit. He's shooting up every motherfucker. He don't get shot. If he gets shot, it don't flex. He don't feel pain. It's all that kind of stuff wrapped up in this type of film. Now, this is what kicked stuff off for me. I was fine with that. I knew what I was getting into. So we go through a first little load of, it continues on from the second film, and he's trying to get his shit together, go through and get his stuff so he can kind of, you know, he got to protect his interest. And what's the underlying tone? Like, we got to understand, what's the motive for John Wick? He lost his dog or some shit, and got his dog killed or something like that in the first one for his wife, and now he's got a second dog, and he's trying to keep it alive, and it seems to be doing well. No problems there. But what is John Wick's motive? And so in John Wick 3, they answer that. He wants to live on with the memory of his wife. That is what he wants to keep having, this loving memory. That's the one thing that he fights for. And I don't understand that. I mean, maybe that's something. I mean, like, I don't know. They've been in this shit to make it work, so I'm not going to criticize them. That if that's the motive for John Wick, that's the motive. So this is the reason for him to live or to carry on and fight for what he's fighting for. Because people don't understand. Why are you fighting, dog? Just lay down. He said, no, man. I got something to live. I got something to live for. I got to live for the feelings and my memories of my wife. I was like, all right, cool, whatever. So, getting on with that, I'm trying to think about the first scene that kind of cracked me up. He gets into the scenario where he's fighting a couple Asian cats, and they doing all these knives. They throwing shit in. I don't know if it's the library. I don't think this was the library scene. This is like a separate place. But they've got weapons all in this facility, in this little place. Anyways, they break into the stuff, start pulling out all all these little knives and shit, and they're throwing these shits back and forth like chomp, 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 chomp. The shit that cracked me up. The one dude threw one of these damn blades, and it's such a slight scene. It's like a sleight of hand scene. You gotta catch it. I went back, paused it, went back and watched it a few times just to see, like, that's what happened. I was like, that shit's gold. I like that. So they threw one dude throws a blade. It goes flying by John Wick, right? So he does like this. He ducks. But as it's going by, he grabs this fucking blade as it's coming by his head. I'm like, oh, that's cold. That's cold. So he grabs the blade and then he's like, oh. Well, actually, he holds on to it for a hot minute. So if you're following the scene transitions, it's all there. And I'm cracking up. I'm laughing. So this is more like an action comedy in a way for me. Because John Wick's just like, I'm just trying to carry on. So the movie keeps going on. We get into a scenario where I get Angelica Houston playing, I guess she's playing like the Russian gypsy or some shit. I don't even know her, what she's in. But I knew when I saw her, I was like, that's Angelica Houston. Now, I know her from Witches, because I'm a childhood era that I watched that film and I was fascinated with Angelica Houston. Maybe I like a witch. I don't know. I don't want the ugly version. I just like her when she had her shit on. Anyways, they had Angelica Houston in this scene, and I think she did a phenomenal job for what they gave her. And just really, they needed somebody that could act, I think, for that spot. And I was just happy to see her back in a film. So moving along on that, I can't remember too many of these scenes because the film's done and there was too many where I was cracking up laughing. So I know for sure I'm gonna hit the Halle Berry situation. So they throw Halle Berry here. First of all, let's get back to my black man. He's passed now. I knew this before I watched the film. He's the guy that runs as like he's not the manager, but he works with the manager. I don't know these fucking titles, what they mean, but you know Winston, the head dude of the Continental. So you got him, and then you got his black dude that's the associate. That's my dog. That's my dog. I love him because I liked him in the show The Fringe. He's always been a stellar energy. And God rest his soul and his family. God bless y'all, because he was tops. So, anyways, Winston, the old fucking dude, Winston, like, he has paid off Hollywood to put him in all of these fucking iconic power positions. In every show he's in, you can tell that I've seen enough fucking films. Obviously, when I think about things, I can't believe my brain's even working to compile all this much information. But there is Gods Among Us, or something about the gods, or something gods. It's a TV show, and it depicts him as Zeus, or like the god figure in there, and he plays the exact same role. But that's the point I was making. I know when I see him, I don't expect him to act anything different from that persona. Like, if I saw him be different from that, I would be like, he's totally out of character. Like, out of personality wise. Because he just observes himself as a dignified. And it just cracks me up, man. And so he plays the same position, same role. Like, he don't do any work in a film. He just stands and talks. And he looks like a guy that could be doing a liquor commercial in every situation. Like, I think about, what is that? Not Don Quixote. Oh, I say Don Quixote. Dos Equis. You got the old man with the little, drink in his hand, Dos Equis dude. He's the Dos Equis guy. That's basically what he plays as a position. Why drink anything else when you have what I have here? Stay thirsty, my friend. I can see him going there. I can see him going there. Anyways, this old one, he's still around. But they make you hate him at the end of the film. Oh, you really don't like him. That pissed me off what they did at the end. That kind of like put a bad taste in my mouth. About made me want to drop the damn score. But I can't hate the score. Because they make this pivotal, powerful position. Like, he has feelings. And we already know that, obviously, because of the dog. And we know this because of his his deceased wife. And now they've basically played the cards against him where he has to take out his buddy, what is not buddy, Winston. Because he's been in connections with him for so long in the line of work that he's done. And Winston had the opportunity to take him down, but allowed him to just have a contract put on his head. So, that being said, he's now faced with this position where I'm skipping along too much in the story. Let's get back to Halle Berry. Halle Berry, what the heck? Homegirl looking rough. I hate to tell y'all this, man. Look, I know there's some Halle Berry people out there like, woo, that girl fine. Look, I'm getting older. I know I'm aging. Halle Berry has aged. And I'm surprised at all the movements she did in there. And I'm sure there was some camera speed up moments to help her with these scene transitions. But let me tell you, I would much rather see Jada Pinkett be in these action scenes. Because I think she can deliver a little bit more of that, quick action, and even have like muscular reaction time to some of these transition moments. Like John Wick does what he can in his type of framework and age. I mean, let's just be real. Keanu Reeves getting older too. We watching him. We watching our boy Denzel Washington. Which Denzel Washington look like a Forrest Whitaker now. I hate to say it, but we all aging, and it's funny how these characters try to maintain like their persona. Like Hollywood tries to keep them together, but it don't work like that. They turn into Marlon Brando's, right? Marlon Brando was like the ladies' man back in the day, is what I've heard. And like later on when he did that damn, the Dr. Moreau's Island, everybody said, damn, that's Marlon Brando. Okay. Anyways, I'm just talking about it how it is. Halle Berry, girlfriend, is not looking great. But if you ask me, would I still date her? Yeah, I would. I'd date her. Would I shag her? Yeah, I would. But she ain't like what you thought she was back then. She looked rough in this film. She looked like she was a John Wick, the chick version. But anyways, she held her own. I actually preferred her acting in this film more than I do, I think, in a lot of other films. She kind of annoys me somewhat in some of her acting. Some people might love her. But I'm like, there's something that can't connect with the screen. Just like if I try to go and act, sometimes when I've done trailers for different movie, I don't even want to talk about it. I've done some trailers. I have to get into certain acting roles. I can't be this type of persona. And so I think like whenever you do that, it takes away from some of your essence. And she was able to have some of her essence in this film that I don't see her being able to do in a lot of the other ones because they just want a pretty face a lot of times. Just saying. But She held her own. I liked her as an actress in this film. What I thought was hilarious as fuck was what they used with these dogs. My goodness. What they did with these freaking dogs in the film. I thought it was hilarious. My God. It was so damn funny. I kept cracking up the whole time. She would be in a situation where, okay, first of all, it kicks off with the dude says, well, I'm going to want something for in return. For everybody wants this fealty, this fucking, this devotion and loyalty bullshit for everything and they offer. Like, that's some Orion bullshit. If you know what I'm talking about when I say Orion, you on the end. You want to talk about woke? I just gave you woke. Orion bullshit. Because everybody on that kick, and if you listen in this film, they bring up Orion. If all these kind of slick power positions, if you listen and pay attention enough, they will mention something about Orion. It's inevitable. So, just saying, there's a whole lot there to unpack if you ever want that topic to talk about. So in this situation, he says, I want something in return for the information I gave, basically John Wick, and she's not prepared to do it. So he says, well, I'll take your dog. And she's like, no, you can't have my dog. Blah, 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 blah. I'm thinking, everybody knows your ass is on the line when you're dealing with certain people. And she knew this going ahead and getting involved in this. So she's going to have some pride moment and probably get your ass killed. She going to keep her dog. Well, they turn around. And he turns around thinking he shoots the dog. But she's got some kind of like, what is it? Bulletproof vest on the dog. So it didn't go in, and she takes a little thing, and she's like, oh, you shot my dog. Like, he didn't technically, he just like made a point, but because she didn't want to give up the dog, and he's like, well, I'll shoot your dog. Boom. Then she turns around, and she just pops off at him, and she goes ape shit. I'm like, damn. And the funny part is like, Wick's like, I get it. And it was cracking up because we all know that that's the undertone of Wick. We know that it's the dog situation that provokes every fucking thing. But the scenes that they had these dogs doing, unrealistic as fuck. Unrealistic. These dogs were basically John Wick's, little John Wick dogs. They busy doing bullshit that you would never imagine, running around, popping, running, grabbing people, flipping them around with their muzzles, like, it's like, these dogs were on crack. And one scene, she's bent over, and she was like, Brolo, whatever the fuck she says to the dog comes running, hops up on her back, climbs the wall. They want to show all these things that the dog can do. We're talking about, man, any canine unit would love to have these animals. Just saying. And the dog climbs, he scaffolds the damn side of the wall, gets the dude, and it's like, ooh. And they running up doing all these little sequences. I'm like, like, what happened to the days of Benji? Benji could do some little cute stuff, and it seemed sophisticated, and that was enough. No, they got these dogs doing that, plus I'm a canine. I like, like, I'm just letting you know, I'm a German Shepherd. We do this shit. Like, little Benji can't stop this. So, it's basically Benji as a tank. But anyways, getting on beyond that, I'm laughing. This is why I gave it the points I gave it. It was entertaining. It kept my interest the entire time. There was very little low moments. Like, you try to get your breath on some of these things because it's a lot of action-packed information coming at you. But it just kept going and get a little blip, then another hit. So you stayed focused. It kept your attention the whole time. So I'm trying to think of like some other things that kind of got to me. Then the one dude, which they have him as an iconic villain at almost every end film. I mean, I'm thinking about this one in particular. I think it was like Fire Down Below. I'm thinking that Fire Down Below, that's like a Steven Seagal film. I know I'm wrong with saying that shit. But there's one where he's I think it's like the last fight scene with Brandon Lee, one of the last movies he made. And he's at the end scene, but people don't remember that film. Like, I used to watch a lot of these films growing up as a kid. I watched Bloodsport, I watched all this shit. And I love Brandon Lee. God rest his soul. I think he would have been the next legend. He would have been your next Bruce Lee. He was like the next level Bruce Lee, like where he could mirror. He basically could. He didn't have everything like Bruce, but he had that like that upgrade vibe. He was able to marry, combine kind of the worlds together in his acting. I thought he was great. Anyways, and Sarah Lee, we ain't gonna talk about that. You know, you eat them, she made the cakes. I'm just saying. But there is a Sarah Lee. Don't get it wrong. Like he had a sister, Sarah Lee. Anyways, or that was his wife or Bruce's wife. I don't remember. So moving on. He's iconic. He's the bald-headed dude in there. He lost his hair like me. I'm like, oh God, I get it, man. I'm like, dang, man. So I don't feel so bad because he still looks smooth. And he's in there. He's like, John Wick, you my biggest fan. You know, and I'm cracking up. I'm laughing. John was like, nah, dog, you ain't like me, man. And so that cracked me up. And then they had some moments where two of the dudes that was his henchmen that he's trained, so his students, they're some badasses. They had like multiple attempts to kill John Wick. Everybody has multiple attempts to kill John Wick. It's just not written into the movie script for that to happen. You just got to understand that's part of the John Wick bullshit. So these two, they're like, hey, they about to kill him. They're like, John, man, it's an honor. You know, they want to warm this situation up. Like, let me get a little bit injured so we can even this out. And the film's great about mentioning that kind of little aspect, that these folks that could take out John Wick, they wouldn't feel like like they were achieved anything. It would be like a cheap win or a cheap defeat of John Wick. So they wanted to feel like they would be a little bit on par with how John Wick, because John Wick's just hobbling along, man. He's just hobbling along, dude. He's making it. He's killing folks. So we got to honor that. And so they get into the fight scene with each other. These two like twin Asian dudes. And he leaves them alive. That's what I thought was cool. Because they worked him pretty good. And they could have killed him a number of times. And he was just like, y'all motherfuckers cool. Just lay the fuck down. Basically. And they were like, yeah. And so the whole time, your homeboy, the master dude, he like the Asian dude, he's just watching. The very end scene, John Wick does some role reversals. Basically shows him, dog, I know the magic shit you pulling too. I can do the same thing. They call me Baba Yaga for a reason, player. And does his kind of magic woo-woo, fucks him up. He goes, don't worry, I just got to catch my breath. John Wick's like, no, you won't. Nah, I already took care of you. You done. The other thing was cool. I like how whenever the table brings in their henchmen, and the way they bring them in with ultra, like, you know, people say bulletproof vest. It was kind of like Teflon all the way through. So John Wick, he starts to go off shooting at them, and they ain't going down. Like, it's taking some time, and he's like, he can kind of soften them. And he's like, man, what the fuck? So he's like, damn, I gotta work. So he was popping their damn head, the little shields of shooting them inside their helmets. I'm like, that's good. That's gold. That's what I mean. Like, that's why I had to give it 7.2. The other thing was the reason I like that he gets there, Winston, basically, because, okay, here's the whole premise. He gets to finding the dude that sits above the table. He decides all this shit. He like the magic man. And so as part of paying his fealty to him, John Wick got to chop off his freaking finger to make all this magic so he can keep his life to remember his woman. That's basically what he's after. I'm like, you sure you just don't want to die? You can die and go meet her, man, in spirit. I don't know. Maybe you don't believe in that shit. So, okay. Anyways, chops his finger. I thought that was some cold shit. I'm like, all right, well, here we go. That's cool. But he's got to kill Winston. And that's the dude that allowed him to live. And that was like the reason why I was like, I cannot drop this below 7.1. At the time, it was 7.1 was my review. Because I had like 7. And then I was like, okay, now I got to move it to 7.1. Because that's a critical position. Parabellum. If you want peace, prepare for war, baby. I had to look that up because I was like, damn, man. I was like, what does that mean? And then they described that it's Latin. You know, it comes from Latin. So I read that. I was like, oh, that's some dope shit. That's for another topic. I mean, I can go off of that wisdom alone and talking about it, but I think that would be safe for a different video. Okay, so we're at the end of the film. We now know that he's got to kill Winston. He shows up there. Winston basically talks to him and says, do you want to kill me and prove that you Baba Yaga? He plays on his fucking conscience. Like, damn, Winston. He fucking with everybody's head. He's playing a power position, power cards, and messing with people's heads. I was like, man, what a magician, man. That's exactly what Winston is. So he sits here and he plants this kind of seed in his head that you can kill me and you confirm that you the demon that you are, Baba Yaga. Because I'll let you roll. But you going to kill me, blah, 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 blah. Or you can hold ground, not do that shit, and maybe fight alongside me. Help me protect this, because I ain't going down like that. I'm holding out. I'm New York, baby. He flipped the script. He wasn't even like, I ain't the Continental. I'm New York. So I was like, okay, everybody got their pride in this film. So, anyways, John Wick's like, yeah, I can't kill you, dog. I don't care, man. I got my feelings, dog. So, Winston plays this shit so good. So he gets the gun back. He's very psychological. So now John Wick goes through, does all this shit, kills all these dudes. The one chick that I wish they would have popped and let loose, like she's a risk taker. In my opinion, she's the one that works for the table. She goes and has all the conversations with everybody and lets them know that they fucked up. And here's the penance for all that kind of action. So she a risk taker because she talks to every one of the power heads. And I'm surprised they don't take her out because they ain't willing to yield, but they also aren't willing to pop her and make a message. So I'm like, whatever. They leave her alone, but she's over there letting them know, like, okay, so this is what's going down. So she does a parlay because she doesn't want to keep losing henchmen. It's a smart tactic. Don't want to lose henchmen. And maybe there's a way we can get some kind of truce. So they agree to put him back in, in place, Winston. But now we've got John Wick, who's reneged on his fucking contract. He said he would take out Winston. He didn't take out Winston. He joined Winston. And now the same crew is reinstating Winston because they understand how powerful he is. But if they're going to do that, it's a trade-off that they have to turn around and kill the betrayer. It's some complicated shit going on here. And because of that reason, he takes out his gun and starts firing off at Wick at the very end, which is what pissed me off. And he falls down. He hits like all this railing and shit. Probably broke his back 4 or 5 different ways. But he gonna come back in number 4. Y'all seen number 4. And yeah. At the end of all this, I laughed. I had a good time chuckling. And because of that entertainment and realizing that there's a bunch of BS as a film, as long as you understand, like you watch cartoons, you know some of that's made up bullshit in there, but you go along with it and you say, hey, that was a pretty good movie, especially for my kid. We're kid-minded adults. And that just serves the purpose for that platform. I mean, that's all that was. If you want to watch stellar type films, something very thought-provoking that you haven't, it changes like kind of your state of thinking. Dune, the last Dune was really good. I don't know, wait a minute. There's 2 out right now, 2 more recent Dunes. The first one kind of gives you that feeling. And I haven't seen the second one, which I'm anxious to watch because I want to wrap it up. It's like I need the answers from Dune. But there really wasn't too much even happen complex in the first one. What was unique in the first one was the audio. They had sounds and sound effects and music that just totally would shape your feeling. And I think that was more epic for making that film to what it was than the actual storyline. Even though the storyline was still good, it was a little bit in depth, maybe too in depth, like where you're going to have to watch again to get more of it. But anyways, that's my 2 cents. 7.2 for John Wick 3. It would make me want to watch 4 just because. And I'm sitting here, I've been screaming and I've been laughing. I've been pausing, rewinding. I'm trying to think about another scene. Oh, I know another one that I paused and I rewound, where John Wick takes one of these twin Asians at the end of the film. He pulls like the jacket over his head. And he's just slapping him over the top of the head. He's slapping him like, I'm giving you, like, instead of slapping somebody on the butt, like spanking him, he's spanking him on the top of his head. And he slaps him upside the face. It's too hilarious. That part cracked me up. I backed it up 3 times. I was like, this is great. You don't have to go see these films when they first come out, y'all. There's no FOMO happening, guys. Forget it. Just watch it when you can. You know, there's too much content in the world now. We're never going to watch it all in one lifetime. Just watch it when you can, and then, you know, you do something like this, you make a video about it. Let other people know and relate to what you experience, and maybe they can relate too. But I ain't going to chop it no more than that. You guys, thanks for watching if you decide to watch this little long session. And I'll try to make it cute with some little pictures and shit throughout, you know. But have a great day. It's Sunday for me. Hope you have a good Sunday. And I will see you on the next video. Peace.